What's up, guys? It's the real main event, the Rogue Soldier, the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I'm Mrs Crossfire.
And once again, you guys are tuned into Caught
in Conversation. Shakalaka-laka.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 87 of Caught in Conversation. As always, I am your host, the essential John L. Crossfire, and with me, back by popular demand, the newly rebranded Novalee, aka Mrs Crossfire.
Sup, everyone?
Now, first and foremost, I do apologize. I just spent no shit like 40 minutes having a mental breakdown because we're using different mics today. Last time I used these mics, they were fine. Somehow, because technology just loves me so much, all the settings had changed themselves. I tried to reset it just the default and then build from there. That wasn't working. It kept saying it was resetting to default. However, I was looking at the settings and they were still all over the fucking place. But here we are. I'm going to get straight into it. The song of the week this week, before I forget, before we get into all this stuff, is going to be Survivor by State of Mind featuring Eva Under Fire. It's a cover song, I believe. Mrs. Crossfire can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Christina Aguilera.
Yes.
There's also a banger of a cover by All Good Things, who also did myself and James Hellfire's theme song. But yes, the song of the week this week is going to be Survivor by State of Mind, featuring Eva Under Fire, because we're about to get into all things Survivor Series. We're going to do a Mark-A-Palooza. I'll go through the rules and the regulations and all the boring shit that made Mrs. Crossfire go, oh, but what about this match? And I was like, no.
Rules. Who needs them?
And the match of the week, just to make Mrs. Crossfire happy after that little slight roast, it's the first ever Survivor Series Mrs. Crossfire watched live. I'm not going to say the first one because her brother was a wrestling fan, but the first one she ever watched live, Survivor Series 2019, the Men's Survivor Series match, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, as it fucking should be. It was, 4 years ago now that it happened, or 4 years this weekend, by the time you hear this episode. The moment they took NXT out, like literally the year after, it automatically it went downhill so fast. But yeah, the match of the week officially, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT Men's Survivor Series match, Survivor Series 2019. Mrs. Crossfire, are you ready to get into the rules and the regulations here?
I'm ready.
Now, do you want to read out the rules, or do you want me to read out the rules?
You can read out the rules.
Because granted, my vision is very fucking blurry right now.
I can read it if you want, but fuck the rules.
You want to read it?
Do you need me to read it?
You can read it.
Okay. So
keeping in mind, for those that listened to the previous Mark-A-Palooza, we followed a very similar format that I did with referee Steve, which has now become a third and permanent format in the 3 different Mark-A-Palooza formats. I don't think I'll add another one because I don't want to complicate it too much. But yeah, read the rules. I've got them right here, or I think you've got your copy in front of you.
I've got them up.
We're prepared here, believe it or not. The technology fucking hates us, but we've got the paperwork.
Okay. The theme is wrestlers versus fictional characters. Teak and John, so Novalee, Mrs. Crossfire, John Crossfire, shoot shit, will take turns naming a wrestler / fictional character. Nova will, being the guest, so me, will start off with a wrestler. John Crossfire will pair them with a fictional character. Then John picks up a wrestler for Nova to pair with a fictional character, etc.
Which is funny because we actually did it at the back. You started with a wrestler and then I went fictional character, but it still ended.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. You let me pick and I was like, I do what I want.
This will continue.
Alrighty. So, this will continue until we have 8 matches, 6 being singles matches, and then 2 traditional Survivor Series tag matches. This means each person will have selected 3 wrestlers and 3 fictional characters each, and then 2 teams of wrestlers and 2 teams of fictional characters each, respectively. And then given that,
given that I've, aka me, because I wrote the rules.
yeah, complicated it to fit the Survivor Series theme, we won't be making any bonus mystery matches on air. Anyway, similar to the prior Mark-A-Palooza episode, we will both book the matches in their own respective order and then discuss it on air to lock in a final order, booking it in for a real card.
Yeah, air quotes on an audio podcast.
Air quotes, but you can't see it, but you can hear it in my voice. Anyway, the final card will be a one-show sorry.
I'm going to leave that in because that's one of the very few times Mrs. Crossfire is actually.
I needed a coffee, damn it! I'm off
Yeah,
caffeine,
Mrs.
so this
Crossfire's current
sucks.
medication is not allowing her to have caffeine. So in spirit, I am also not having caffeine because I feel guilty having it in front of her. So water it is. Let's see how this unfolds.
Anyway, the fun card.
Well, it better be a fun card. The final card will be one pre-show match, and the remaining 7 will obviously be the.
So
main
you
card.
can read it.
No,
You're making me
it's 'cause
stumble for no reason.
Because that's an obvious thing. We made 8 matches. My
Okay, yeah.
fucking levels are going up and down here. So
Okay.
hopefully this isn't too.
Yeah, sorry, I yell a lot. Anyway, back to what I was saying. The final card will be one pre-show match, and then 7 will be obviously the main card. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm gonna stumble so bad through all of this. Anyway, this oh my god.
The 8 prior matches will be posted to social media for fan voting. We can't share our own vote until on-air recording, which here we have it. We still got to book the matches first before we cast the votes.
Dyslexia is fun, guys. On top of this, so it's fucking.
I can
rough.
do the rest if you want because I remember this.
Okay,
This
you can
is-
do it.
This was more for you.
I just was trying to help
I
you
don't
through
even need
it,
the
but I'm
paper
like,
now.
I need
I'm at a
some
point
help
where I
here.
don't need the piece of paper now, but
Can I tag team you in at all?
hot tag.
Ugh.
I tried to do a clapping motion, but I had a pen in my hand and it fucking hurt. Yeah, thigh slap.
Yeah, thigh
Please don't hit
slaps.
the mic.
Oh, you don't
Alright.
hit the mic. Oh shit.
Once someone from a particular universe has been used, that universe cannot be used again, with the exception of the Survivor Series tag team matches, but it can't be used in any other matches, so you can have a team of people from one universe, aka, spoiler alert, one of the matches was Scooby Gang, so if you had have said Scooby-Doo was in one of the matches,
Where
in
are
one of the singles
you?
matches, they would have been gone completely, but we were able to use more than one person because it was a team, you get what I mean? So when a character from a movie is used, then another character played by the same actor, example Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Statham, etc., cannot be used in the same match with the exception of the Survivor Series matches. For example, if you wanted an entire team of Arnolds, it's not a tumor, I'll be back, you know what I mean? We could have done so much fun stuff. We could have had Rocky and Rambo on the same team.
I literally was just thinking we could have done John Cena, but like all his different like movie characters
Which
and
is a
shit.
great segue because this
Oh.
also applies to wrestlers. So once
Yeah.
one wrestler has been used, they cannot be used more than once, i.e. multiple faces of Foley, or if it's The Rock, John Cena, Batista, etc., are chosen as a wrestler. None of their characters are eligible, and vice versa. And it's the same rule with the tag matches. They could have had an entire team of John Cena characters, as Mrs. Crossfire just said. But as always, the most important rule, Mrs. Crossfire. What's the most important rule?
The most important rule is, as always, have fun.
Yeah.
I said fun card before,
Fun,
and
fun.
that is exactly
You're
it.
just getting a little bit ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
But I will read these in the order that we made them, and then I'll be you being the guest. We'll start and we'll get into this. And
Okay.
it's been almost 8.5 or 9 minutes of just.
Yeah, because I'm just
Clusterfuckery,
waffling and
but-
stumbling.
I'm gonna have to edit this at some point because once we get into it, there will probably be slight dead space as we're like writing stuff down. I'm gonna take the lid off my pen now so I can be prepared. We've been playing a lot of Disney Speedstorm, so I've got lots of Disney songs stuck in my head. I still say they
I
should
can
add
show
Simba
you
because Simba driving a car would be fucking cool.
Yes.
Anyway, I need to click on this, and then click on this, and then here we go. I've got it written on both my phone and the piece of paper. I'm going to read this bit off my phone just because it's a little bit clearer. I can't even read my own fucking handwriting. But we had, starting with T, or I should say Nova, but whatever. She's still T because Mrs. Crossfire. She selected Rocky Maivia. I selected Tarzan. So match number 1. Rocky Maivia versus Tarzan. Match number 2, Godzilla versus Andre the Giant. So the first person that I name for the matches is going to be T. The second person mentioned is going to be J, just so you're keeping it home. So Mrs. Crossfire picked Godzilla. I picked Andre the Giant. So then Mrs. Crossfire picks Roddy Piper. I picked the Riddler. And then we go Rapunzel, Bianca Belair, MJF versus Shooter McGavin. I was so proud of that pick. Dean Winchester versus John Cena. And then we have the Death Dealers, which was Cactus Jack, Sami Callihan, Matt Cardona, John Moxley, and Eddie Edwards versus the Scooby Gang, which is obviously Scooby, Shaggy, Fred, Daphne, and Velma. And then we had the Sandy Bottoms, hailing from Bikini Bottom. Sandy Patrick, SpongeBob, Squidward. I wrote Squirward. I didn't even put a D in there. Fuck me, typo, ahoy. And Plankton versus Team John's Fever Dream. Team Fever Dream, which was Doink the Clown, Gobbledygooker. It's Survivor Series. It's Thanksgiving. You've got to have the turkey. Hornswoggle, Gilberg, and a man that is undefeated at WrestleMania, Michael Cole.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. So, yes, I'm just going to quickly run back through them. Maivia versus Tarzan, Godzilla versus Andre, Piper versus Riddler, Rapunzel versus Belair, MJF versus Shooter McGavin, Dean versus Cena, Death Dealers versus the Scooby Gang, Sandy Bottoms versus Team Fever Dream. Now, this is where it gets fun. Mrs. Crossfire, we're just going to get straight into this.
Okay.
What match did you have for your pre-show?
My pre-show was MJF versus Shooter McGavin.
God damn. You said people were going to have heat with you. I
yeah, they were going to have heat because
MJF's
was
a big
first
fucking
up.
internet darling.
Yeah.
But, I mean, MJF's been on countless AEW pre-shows lately defending the ROH title, with ROH tag title, and then in the main event with the AEW world title. So if you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at Tony Khan, because he did it first.
Yeah, blame him. Don't blame me.
So my pre-show match, and it's probably going to make people mad as well, because it has Andre the Giant, and he's like a big star, but I went Godzilla versus Andre for the pre-show. Because I'm like, I know a lot of the times a pre-show match is, it's a throwaway match, but it's Survivor Series, right? It's a massive card. It's a monster card.
That's what I was going with MJF, too.
Look at what we just did with the Last Crown Jewel. Sami Zayn, who was the most over person on the entire card, was in the pre-show with JD McDonough. Mm-hmm. So I went with that thought. I was like, let's make the pre-show special and make the pre-show worth watching. And you've done the same with MJF. Mm-hmm. So we've got MJF versus Shooter McGavin. I've put Andre versus Godzilla, so I guess we'll have to discuss that afterwards. But what did you put for your official first match on the opening card?
So I went with Dean Winchester versus John Cena.
Ooh, so I went Sandy Bottoms versus Team Fever Dream, because I'm thinking this one, because I'm like, the other one, depending on where it lands up, because we don't know what order these are going to land, but I'm like, the other one in my mind was the main event. Spoiler alert. Could be a War Games match, but this is a traditional Survivor Series match. What better way to kick off Survivor Series than with some tag team action? I'm wondering if we're going to have any that are in the same spot, because obviously if any are in the same spot, they will be locked in. But what about match 2 for you, Mrs. Crossfire? On the
match 2 is Bianca versus Rapunzel.
So I've gone Rocky Maivia versus Tarzan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so match number 3, what have you got?
Sandy Bottoms versus Teen Fever Dream.
See, this is where I've got Roddy Piper versus the Riddler.
Okay.
Okay, match number 4.
Match number 4 is Maivia versus Tarzan.
Yep, and this is where I've put Dean Winchester versus John Cena.
Okay. Because I started with John Cena because it was like big name. Okay.
So match number 5 for you.
Match number 5 is Roddy versus the Riddler.
So this is where I've slotted in Rapunzel versus Bianca Belair.
Okay.
What about match number 6?
Godzilla versus Andre, because I see it as like big man,
yep.
like leading up to like, the big
see,
main
that was my
match.
thinking for putting it in the pre-show, because I was like, Andre is a massive star, and at the same time, towards the later end of his career, with how much pain he was in IRL, he wasn't really, he was barely able to walk. So at the same time, if you were booking this like a shitty card, one hand you make it special, on the other hand, if he does shit the bed, it's just the pre-show. For
me, it's earlier, Andre. I could pick any era. Didn't matter.
I put, I believe the picture I used was roughly around WrestleMania 3 era where Hogan slammed him for the first time. So, like, wasn't moving as big as as good as he was when he was first, like, in Japan and stuff, but he was still a, there was the eighth wonder of the world. And so then, I've gone, obviously, MJF versus Shooter, which means that we both have had the same idea here with the main event.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone Death Dealers versus the Mystery Inc., a.k.a. the Scooby Gang.
Scooby Gang.
So my question is to you.
Yes.
Do we leave this as a Survivor Series a traditional tag match, or do we make it a War Games match?
Ooh. War Games would be cool just with the people that I've picked. That would be cool, actually.
I'm going to leave this call.
Can we do that? Can we change the rules, Mr. Rules Man?
No, that's what I said. Like, once the matches are in order, we can then discuss specific match types.
That. Okay.
So I had them in mind where one of them, as we were making them, it was in the mind of should they be traditional Survivor Series matches. But if you're going to have it in the main event, and given that this weekend, and we will do the predictions at the end of the episode, is War Games. So I'm just literally...
go War Games.
I'm just going to write...
Let's just do it. Let's put it in there.
I don't even need to rewrite it. I'm just going to write War Games next to it in the section next to it. Okay, so the main event's locked in. We're back to the pre-show. You had MJF versus Shooter. I had Andre versus Godzilla. Now, do we flip a coin for one or two of those matches, or do we select something different? Because we both kind of stated our case for why they are... Because I just feel like MJF at this point should be in the main card. Maybe not necessarily in the spot where I put him. But as you say, Andre, Survivor Series is, it's about the odd pairings and the teams and this and that. I feel like this is the only match on the card where you've got big meaty men slapping meat, right? So maybe I shouldn't put it on the pre-show.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I put it in there, because I was like, it's a big match, because you got Godzilla.
So we can either go with MJF versus Shooter, or we can just flip a coin.
You can flip a coin if you want.
It's up to you. I'm putting this in your hands because you've kind of swayed me a little bit here for the big meaty men slapping meat.
Well, that's what I mean, because I was like, it just should. I feel like, because I love MJF, and I was like, he should be on like the main. Like, in the fucking main, like, show. But, at the same time, I was kind of like... Oh, like...
You know what?
But in saying that, what era of MJF? Do we have really early MJF?
I think I used current MJF with the suit and the stuff.
Okay, because I was kind of like...
And keeping in mind, like, this is the same MJF that was in... Like, wasn't pre-show, but he was in the opening match of the All-In pay-per-view, and now he's main eventing AEW, which spurred from that, so... Good on him, but maybe it's a kind of full circle thing. It's Mark-A-Palooza. It's MultiVerse-Mania here. There's lots of big stars. There's all these different universes.
Yeah.
He's not the biggest star on this card anymore.
Yeah.
Which could put a chip on his shoulder. He could be in the main event of the next Wrestlers versus Fictional Characters against someone else. Maybe, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. We're gonna make people mad because that's what we enjoy doing. The pre-show right now. People. MJF has been demoted to the pre-show versus Shooter, but you know what? This is Shooter's pro wrestling debut, so why should it be on the main card? We don't know what he's going to be like. He's a golfer. He doesn't have athleticism. I understand that golf does take some skill, but how does that translate to a wrestling ring? I mean, MJF has the diamond ring, Shooter has golf clubs. That could be a fun little exchange, to how the match ends, but... Yeah. Shooter McGavin versus MJF. MJF versus Shooter McGavin is actually how I've written it because that's the order it was made. MJF's on the pre-show. People are going to be mad.
Yell at me, I dare you.
Mrs Crossfire, you just like making people mad though.
I do. I love it. I love roughing people.
You did that with one of the, I think it was last year, it was like one of the War Games matches. You were like, yeah, we're taking this person out and we're putting this person in because fuck y'all.
Come at me, you sweaty neckbeards. What?
Just wait until she's got a microphone in her hand as Nova Lee. Jesus Christ. Okay, so main event is locked in for sure, but we're now going MJF versus Shooter McGavin on the pre-show. So match number 1, what did you say you had again?
So I had Dean versus John Cena because I was like, big name, opener.
See, I do agree with that, but I do feel like that with Survivor Series, and now that we've changed the main event to a War Games match. This is the only traditional Survivor Series match on the card. I feel like, and let's face it, look at the names in this. The Sandy Bottoms versus the Fever Dream. It's just going to be a big old clusterfuck comedy match. It'll start off funny, but then at the same time, you open it because it's a Survivor Series match, like so it's the theme, but then do you save the comedy for later on in the card when you do need to wind down? So you could be onto something again there.
I think I had it saved for match 3 because I was like, it's nearly the middle.
So who was your second match again?
So my second match was Bianca versus Rapunzel.
Because my second match was Rocky Maivia versus Tarzan.
Okay.
This is interesting. Should we flip a coin on this one, do you reckon?
You can if you want, yeah, because it's hard, because I'm kind of like, I like having John Cena as kind of like the opener,
I'm going to turn
because
my
I'm like,
volume up.
because he's such a big name.
Hopefully it doesn't cause too much feedback in the microphone, but I'm going to put, so the coin flip is heard. Okay, call it heads or tails, we'll do best 2 out of 3. Whichever one you call is your match. So, okay. Whoop, we've got tails. And... oh, now we got heads. Oh, it's landed on heads. Okay.
Damn it, tails is meant to never fail. What the fuck?
So our opener will be
Okay.
the Sandy Bottoms versus Team Fever Dream. Let me just quickly write down. Mrs Crossfire is doing the same. Realistically, I could probably just get you to write them down while I talk, because Lord knows when I get on this podcast, I can talk. Actually, shout out to Daniel Paul from One of It's Cool. By the time this episode drops, the following Wednesday, if all goes to plan, mine and his and Jeremiah Kingsley's watch-along reaction Wednesday of the Roxy Wright Memorial Rumble should be up, and he's having a hard time editing that just because it is so long, and I do want to apologise to him again for how much I talked, but that's the whole point of him getting me on there. I'm a very quiet person, but if you get me talking about something like wrestling or something...
You kind of remind me of that chitter-chatter freaking toy from Toy Story. You know, the one that winds up and his teeth go... That's literally ADHD, what I'm thinking of.
Okay, so match number
like,
2
yes.
officially is the Sandy Bottoms versus the Fever Dreams. Match,
Yes.
Oh, sorry, match number 1.
Yes,
Match number 1 on the main card. Match
Main
number
card.
2... So it's the third match all up, but match number 2 on the main card, as I said, I had Maivia versus Tarzan. You said Bianca versus Rapunzel, I think?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, state your case.
It's kind of hard, because now I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of regretting it a bit. I'm kind of digging myself a hole here.
Because obviously, like, this is the whole point where we've booked them as a real card in our own minds, and I feel like your reasoning has made sense. I like to think my reasoning has made sense, but the reason I book it is because I went, obviously, the tag, which worked, and then it was like, at this point, Rocky Maivia is still green, so, you know, with all due respect, the second match isn't as important as the opener, and then you've got Tarzan, who's naturally gifted, so even if it's not the best match psychology-wise, both guys are very athletic, might get some cheers.
See,
Rocky Maivia did actually debut at Survivor Series in 1999.
See, I'm kind of thinking about switching it to 2, mainly because now I look at it, I'm kind of like, because you have Rocky, he was fucking built then,
Yes.
like, not as built as he is now.
You specified this too, by the way, which is why I actually went Tarzan.
Yeah.
Because you specified Rocky Maivia, and for some reason, I don't know if it was the tassels or the haircut or what it was, but I was like, I want to see that motherfucker face either Tarzan or George of the Jungle.
Yeah, well, because I was like, you know, he's...
Which fucked us both because it ruled out Disney.
You know what? It
completely.
would have been cool. Would have been cool if he versed Maui, but anyway, we can't do that because same guy, pretty much, does the voice for him. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm thinking about changing it mainly because I feel like it's still too close, and that's if we even keep it there. But where I've got Godzilla versus Andre. And they're both two big, burly kind of guys. And I feel like it's too close of a match.
At that point, though, like, Rocky was hitting the drop kicks and, like, the cross bodies and shit.
So
though,
he
like,
was a bit more,
so, like... he was still a big guy. Like, The Rock's still 6'2", 6'3".
true,
Like, he's a solid dude. But it's not full-on, like... Because, like, obviously...
Yeah,
we're trying to factor in
like...
with some of the, like, fictional characters. Like, if they had superpowers or anything, you'd have to, you know, even it out and say it's a playing field. Godzilla's, like, what? Like, fucking... 50 feet tall. It could be a little bit less than that. Andre was, you know, 7'4". But for the sake of the argument, we're going to say that Godzilla's 8 foot tall here, so he's still taller than Andre, but
Yeah.
it's a lot more even than, it would be if you were to do it for real.
Yeah.
So it's entirely up to you. It's still big meaty man slapping meat, but I get where you're going though. Like Rocky and Tarzan 2,
it's
still
got me tossing up.
very stiff match. I get what you're going for there. Like this, yeah.
Yeah, so what I might do is I might switch it. I think switch number 2 for Rocky versus Tarzan.
So we're just gonna lock that in then.
Yeah, I think lock that in. Don't even bother flipping a coin. I'm just thinking about it more. I think that makes more sense.
So Rocky versus Tarzan. I'm actually gonna put an M next to that, and I know that it's The Rock, but it's not a Rocky. It is The Rock. That was a terrible Sylvester Stallone impression, but it knows a lesson. Sometimes you need subtitles, and that's okay. Anyway, match number 3 on the main card. What have we got?
So I had Sandy Bottoms versus Teen Fever Dream, but we've moved them.
Yes. So I
don't
had
have
Roddy
anything right
Piper
now.
versus the Riddler. Is there any of the other matches that you have that you feel should slot in
I
there?
was either thinking Roddy or Rebecca? Who the hell's Rebecca? Sorry, these meds have got me all kinds of messed up.
Bianca, not Becky, baby.
Yeah. Bianca versus Rapunzel. Oh, they were the two I was kind of thinking for there.
Because I was kind of thinking, because obviously originally I had the Andre Godzilla match booked. For the pre-show, I'm thinking, could we go back to back and make Godzilla and Andre the match after this?
But then who would we make? Who do you reckon would suit to follow before the Death Dealers War Games match?
Because we've got...
Just thinking
so
a little bit
Rocky
ahead.
versus Riddler left. Dean versus Cena. Godzilla versus Andre, and Rapunzel versus Bianca. I was thinking, so as this stands now, in my mind, I'm going down and I'm like, okay, you got Rocky versus Tarzan. Yeah, it's strong style. I get what you were going for.
Yeah.
You want to go back, but there's still going to be a lot more athleticism.
Yeah.
So then you go from that to just straight up body on body Godzilla versus Andre.
Could see that, yeah.
And then at number 4, I already had Dean and Cena. That kind of makes sense because then you've got the star power to kind of keep going. And then you can go either Rapunzel versus Becky there or Roddy versus Riddler.
Becky? He's Becky.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
Bianca.
Rapunzel versus... It's literally written in
I
front
said
of me.
Rebecca, so it's even worse. I'm like, what?
So it's your call. What did you think? Do you think we should just go Rapunzel versus Bianca, or should we...
No, I think you made a good case with Godzilla Andre.
So
I
Godzilla
think,
Andre is going to be match 3.
Godzilla Andre.
Big meaty man slapping meat. Okay, match number 4. Because as I said, I actually had number 4 with Dean and Cena locked in, but now I feel like it makes even more sense to have that match when you've gone, MJF's in the pre-show, open with the traditional Survivor Series tag, Rocky versus Tarzan, lots of athleticism while still being big guys, and then just the big mammoth Godzilla versus thing, and then you kind of come back to Dane Winchester's, a young rookie in the wrestling business against the Doctor of Thugonomics. It's not Super Cena just yet. John Cena is a heel at this point. He's been a little fucking cocky fuck picking on Dean, and everyone's like, hey, everyone picked on you when you were a rookie, you piece of shit. And John Cena's like, I don't care. Did some crazy, rap. Could have even used a reference to Scooby-Doo to set it up later in the rap.
Yeah.
So did you want to go Rapunzel versus Bianca here, or did you want to go Dean versus Thing?
I think Dean just versus John Cena makes sense. Just the way you've kind of made the case that you need that star power to keep going through the card.
Because Cena was still a big name as the Doctor. He's obviously not what he is now, but you all know he's going to come out and he's going to rap and he's going to fucking roast the shit out of Dean, and it's just going to come off to a hot start. There's not going to be collar and elbow. Dean's going to come out and slap him in the face because he said something disrespectful about his mother or his brother or his dad or all of the above. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm just going to draw an arrow here.
Yep.
That one stays the same. So match number 5. What have we got left? I think we've got
Roddy versus the River.
and Rapunzel versus Becky. So this is where I had Rapunzel versus Becky.
Bianca.
Oh, fuck me. Rapunzel versus Bianca. I'm going to do it for the rest of this
so
episode
sorry.
now.
I'm so
ADHD,
sorry.
my dudes. Because I feel like, again, I feel like because Roddy versus the Riddler kind of writes itself, but it's like Rapunzel versus Bianca. Rapunzel versus Bianca could be second to last because it could be semi-main, but at the same time, once it's booked, I don't want it to just look like it's the cool-down match, but I don't want Roddy and Riddler either because they're both fantastic. This is, I don't know. So I had Rapunzel versus Bianca written here, but I'm leaving this in your court. You can work this out because obviously once we book this, that only leaves one match. So match number 6 on the main card, that's just by default. It's the last one.
So I'm thinking Bianca versus Rapunzel to break it up a bit because we've had, you've got like Rocky versus Tarzan,
you've had the
Godzilla,
traditional
Andre,
tag, you've had
Dean
the athleticism,
Cena,
you've had the
young boy coming up kind of thing.
Because that could
Getting
almost be
bashed around
like
by Cena,
that could
heel
almost be like the
Cena.
blood feud there, where Cena, one of his raps, he's upset Dean and
Yeah.
da 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 da, and then
I feel like that brings that like softness back to it, and then it's just then you can.
You don't want to say token
Roddy.
women's match per se, but it is the only women's match on the card. So it's like, okay, well, you've had the tag, you've had the athleticism, you've had the big boys, you've had the blood feud. Now let's bring out the women.
It's like it's because that's what I mean. Like it's a super card, right? So you're trying to get all the shit in.
So in a way, Roddy and Riddler is kind of the piss break, but at the same time, it's still semi-main, and it makes sense because of the character work. They don't actually have to go super over the top to kind of get it to work, sort of thing.
Yeah, and just going back to why I picked Rapunzel as well, because Rapunzel was my pick, not Disney Rapunzel.
Yeah, no, so this is where...
You put the picture as Disney Rapunzel, but
Yes.
it technically
But that
originated
was more-
from a
yes.
fairy tale, so that's
So,
why I picked her.
Disney was ruled out because I was like, I didn't want to go Tarzan or George of the Jungle. They were both Disney, and I was like, straight off the bat, I was like, I've just fucked this completely because I had so many ideas, and I know you did as well. One I wanted to use wasn't Disney, but it was Nickelodeon. I really wanted to use Reptar. And I think that's just because we've already planned most of it, but we've got the Wrestlers versus Dinosaur one coming out that Mrs. Crossfire was super excited about, and I can't wait to do.
Yes.
That one's actually going to be fun because one of the tag matches, I believe we've got, I think it was the Triceratops twins? We're actually going to do a fan vote, and I believe it's going to be the Usos, Legion of Doom, and I think it was going to be either the Hardys or the Dudleys.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be either Young Bucks or FTR. We might even do a poll to make the polls at this point. Who knows? Just because why the fuck not? But the fans are actually going to vote who actually the competitors are before the actual votes for the results come out. Just as a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why I was thinking Reptar, because we've got the dinosaurs coming up. But yeah, it's Disney owned, not Disney created was the long or the short.
Yeah, so I flipped the script. Fuck the rules again.
Yeah, Mrs. Crossfire did a real deep dive into this, and we even did that when we picked Godzilla, because like we were like, can we still use Warner Bros. And da 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 da, and then like it wasn't even just because they own it. Like, for example, like with Supernatural, it's owned by the
Warner
Bros. And like the CW, but like that's not like the only thing. Like it's a separate universe. Like for example, the Disney universe, for the most part, I know a lot of it is just conspiracy theories, but for the most part, Disney is connected, similar to how if I had said Spider-Man, which obviously me being a massive mark, I was thinking Ricochet versus Spider-Man, Rey Mysterio versus Spider-Man, blah 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 blah. Like this is shit that could happen in future ones of these anyway, but that would have ruled out all of Marvel, and we would have been like, fuck. But even though it's Disney owned, Disney still would have been on the table. I feel like Mrs. Crossfire knows. I'm just trying to make sure it makes sense to everyone listening. Like for example, Star Wars. Star Wars is Disney owned now, but if you pick Disney, you could still pick Star Wars, right? Like, and then there was the argument as well. We're going on a rant here. That me and you had an argument, Mrs. Crossfire, of it wasn't an argument. It wasn't even a debate. Actually, we were kind of questioning each other, trying to work out. And it's like we're the ones that made the rules, but it's like if we have Disney, can we still have Pixar? Like, and then at the same time,
I didn't make the rules. You made the rules.
We had a discussion before.
You made the rules.
But yeah, I guess that makes match number 6 on this card is going to be
Roddy versus
Riddler. So now let's just quickly run through the full card, and then we're going to discuss like stipulations and stuff like that, because I got one in mind and I feel
Yes.
like you're going to agree here. But pre-show, MJF versus Shooter McGavin, and then the opener for the main card, Sandy Bottoms versus the Fever Dreams. We have Rocky versus Tarzan, Godzilla versus Andre, Dean Winchester versus the Doctor of Thugonomics, Rapunzel versus Bianca Belair, Roddy versus the Riddler, and in the main event, which we have now officially made a War Games match, we have the Death Dealers versus the Scooby Gang Mystery Inc. in a War Games.
War Games.
Now, MJF versus Shooter on the pre-show. I don't feel like it needs a gimmick.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it's just straight up.
Opener, just traditional Survivor Series match, pinfall, disqualification, submission, countout.
Yep.
Basically, one team has to be fully eliminated. Rocky Maivia versus Tarzan, again, I think, just regular match.
Yeah, regs. Do a regular match, I reckon.
Godzilla versus Andre, regular match.
Oh, I don't know. Kind of want to do Last Man Standing, or like.
Because I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking Steel Cage, but we've already got the War Games match. So
Yeah.
I feel like.
I kind of think of like some kind of like Last Man Standing, or. Yeah, that's what I'm vibing. I don't
Last
know.
Man Standing, you reckon?
Yes.
For Godzilla versus Andre? Because I was almost going to say no DQ match for Dean versus Cena as well, but in saying that, that's hardcore hour, and then the girls come out and...
I feel like they're the more like, they bring out the more like softer energy.
So last
You're heavy.
man standing. So Dean Winchester versus John Cena. Do you think it is a stipulation, or do you think it's just a pure back and forth, babyface was insulted by the heel wants revenge?
That's kind of just how I feel. I think that's how I want
Still regular match. Might brawl in the crowd a little bit, but within the realm of, hey, you've got till 10.
Yeah, you got to 10, get your ass back
Yeah,
in.
okay. Yeah, I think. Rapunzel versus Bianca Belair. There's a very predictable one here, very obvious one here.
Hair versus hair! Hair versus hair!
Do we make this hair versus
Yes!
hair? Because, spoiler alert, when we get into it, depends on our votes which way it could end in a tie, could end in a coin flip. But currently, one of these two people is 2 votes ahead. I'm not going to say who until we've both cast our vote.
Oh. Yeah, because I don't even know. You know, like, what everyone's voted. I have no idea. I've kept my eyes shut. I have no idea who's voted
where
what.
some people voted on some, didn't the others. It was more the Instagram post. I think it was 1 or 2 matches has one more vote. Oh, sorry, one less vote than the others. But, it is what it is. But do you... surely, Rapunzel versus Bianca Belair...
Hair versus hair.
Has to be hair versus hair, right?
Yes!
Hair versus hair. Let's go. Hair versus hair.
Woo!
Oh, shit. I just wrote that next to Dean Cena. Oh,
Cena's already got a bald spot, bro.
Jeez. This is
This is
pre-bald spot.
This is Dr. Thugonomics.
This is the big fucking flat top, high top, hip hop.
Oh god!
Fucking hat
No,
wearing.
don't ruin the fantastic hair. No.
But in saying that, when I cut my hair, I usually go for like the kind of Jensen Ackles, Dean Winchester crew cut. So I don't want to see him get his head shaved either. Can't do that.
Could you imagine him bald? That'd be weird.
John, could you imagine the raps though if the Doctor of Thugonomics shaved Dean Winchester bald? Okay, and then Roddy versus Riddler. I don't want to say it's the piss break, but I also don't want to say that it is semi-main now, given the other things. I think it is the cool-down match, but I still think it's just a regular match because Roddy Piper will always be in the conversation for character work. The Riddler as a character in general is always, but if you notice the picture, I used the Jim Carrey version of the Riddler for the promo photo, not like any of the animated ones or the video game ones. So this is essentially Roddy Piper versus Jim Carrey here.
Yes.
So I don't think you need let
need
these two
anything.
just talk trash, act like fucking dickheads.
Big mouths, like dickheads. Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, the final card before we get into the votes now. Pre-show MJF versus the young up-and-comer Shooter McGavin. I believe that jacket belongs to Mr. Gilmore. Rest in peace. I can't think of his name right now. Still makes me sad. The big guy. Opening the main card. The guy that like chases him down.
Yes,
yeah,
I know
he
the
passed
guy.
away a few years back.
I can't think of his name.
I was just having this conversation recently with Nick Maltino, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I legit forgot that he like passed away, and then it's like, "Oh, now I'm sad all over again." But yeah, the opening match is a traditional Survivor Series tag team match with the Sandy Bottoms of, you know, I think it's what do we got? Sandy, Patrick, SpongeBob, Squidward, or Squirtwood, as I read it.
Yeah. To make people mad, I picked Plankton over Mr. Krabs.
I for sure. That's where I thought you were going, and then you.
I was like, he is.
But it makes sense.
Spoiler alert! He ruins the match because he's trying to get the secret recipe for the Krabby Patty.
But it makes sense though. Like, how many Survivor Series teams have been like the odd couples? Like, you had like I don't know. Honestly, can't remember if it was Demolition or fucking the Road Warriors at this point. Someone will tell me. But when Hacksaw chained with him and he did the USA face paint to like fit in and stuff, and then Survivor Series 1999, that's my all-time favourite Survivor Series pay-per-view. That main event's actually one of my all-time favourite matches. But you had the Godfather team with D'Lo Brown and all that, and they all came out dressed as the Godfather to Godfather's music to rib the Godfather. He didn't know they were going to do it, which is great.
I'm pretty sure I've watched that with you.
Yes, we watched it.
Because you showed me some.
We watched it.
Because, like...
Not last year, I think it was the year before.
When I was a fan when I was younger, like, and my little brother would watch, and my older brother would watch, it's kind of like... we didn't get access to pay-per-views, so I've like seen like all the Raws and SmackDowns, but because we had like Foxtel back in the day. Well, it was, what was it?
All Star
back in the day. All Star.
I didn't even have All Star, but no, it was 2021 because it was just before we did our first Mark-A-Palooza, so we were watching some
when we went
classic traditional matches.
We did the same with the Royal Rumble too.
Do it every year. We haven't actually done it that much this year with Survivor Series, but it just is what it is.
I remember you went away somewhere.
Yes, I was up north for a wrestling show at the promotion that shall not be named, and Mrs Crossfire was just like, "Oh, I'm watching Insert Rumble here," and I was just like, "Well, I'm backstage, bored out of my mind, so screw you."
And then our brother comes out and he's like, "Oh yes," and we're watching it.
But yes, we have.
Bonding, but yeah.
Team Sandy Bottoms, Sandy, Patrick, SpongeBob, Squidward, and Plankton. Versus Team Fever Dream of Doink the Clown, Gobbledygooker, Hornswoggle, Gilbert, and Michael Cole. As I said, traditional Survivor Series match. Then we've got Rocky Maivia versus Tarzan, regular match. Match number 3, last man standing now, Godzilla versus Andre the Giant. Match number 4, Dean Winchester versus John Cena. Match number 5, Rapunzel versus Bianca Belair. Hair versus hair. That rhymes. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. ADHD, my dudes. Match number 6 is Roddy Piper versus the Riddler. Match number 7, or match number 8 overall, but match number 7 on the main card is your main event, and it is War Games. Generals gathered in their masses. We have the Death Dealers, Mrs Crossfire's team of Sami Callihan, the Deathmatch King, Matt Cardona. I love how salty the Deathmatch purists get over his gimmick, means he's doing his job. John Moxley and Eddie Edwards versus Scooby, Shaggy, Daphne, Fred, and Velma, the Scooby Gang, aka Mystery Incorporated. Fuck, I want to watch those again. Scooby-Doo 2, like, the first one was good, but I feel like the second one actually... majority of the time, sequels flop. Majority of the time, live-action adaptations flop. But Scooby-Doo somehow knocked it out of the park on both fronts. We should watch that again soon.
Yes. But I just want to touch back on the Death Dealers here. I kind of went with Callahan because of the...
Oh, and Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack's the captain. I didn't mention Cactus Jack just then.
Cactus Jack is the captain.
I was like, I only said 4 of them. I said Sami Callihan first, yes. Cactus Jack is the captain. I keep saying Sami Callihan because I'm a master.
Touching back on what I was trying to touch on. The reason I picked Sami Callihan too is because like the kind of like back and forth between him and Eddie Edwards. So there's like that little bit of history there too. So it's a bit of psychology.
But Eddie is no stranger to going hardcore. And even though he's only done one actual death match, Matt Cardona fucking killed it. But you're not hardcore unless you live hardcore. And the legend of the rent was way hardcore. Fucking tell me about it. We're all in a housing crisis right here. But yes, I'm going to read it out again. The main event, War Games, Cactus Jack, Sorry, Team Captain Cactus Jack, Sammy Callahan, Matt Cardona, John Moxley, and Eddie Edwards, the Death Dealers. I think I forgot to say Cactus at the start of the episode too. My apologies. Writing is very small. I might have said it at the start, but yeah. And versus... oh my god. Versus the Scooby Gang, which again, it's Fred, Shaggy, Daphne, Velma. Scooby. Fred is obviously the captain. Why not? But
He's the one that's put together in the group. Everyone else is like...
This is where it gets fun, because I've written the votes in the order the matches were made as we went. But now we've rebooked the card, so I'm going to have to go up and down all over the fucking place and get even more ADHD. And we've only just on 45 minutes as I record that. It'll be a bit more once we put like the actual, official intro with the down in it. But anyway... hoping we're not talking too fast here, but I'm just having fun doing this and just being fucking stupid.
Yeah, sorry about all the ADHD rants and rumblings and...
just imagine if we
fuck
had
ups.
that
Rebecca!
Rebecca Quinn. Oops, breaking the fourth wall here. Sorry, Becky. Can't wait to get her book, actually. By the time my stitches come out, would be roughly when the book comes out, so depending on how soon it takes my glasses to kind of...
I'll just
click in.
I'll get it as soon as it comes out, and then I'll just read it, and then
just
you
be
can
another
read it
dust
after.
collector like the fucking 6 books I've got sitting in our bedroom right now. But okay, the pre-show. MJF versus Shooter McGavin. This is a close one too, and I will say, and it's not just because he has the less votes, the person that I'm voting for is the one that's currently 2 votes behind. But what is your vote for this, Mrs. Crossfire?
For the MJF.
MJF versus Shooter.
Who wins?
Yes.
Who
would you pick?
MJF.
Okay.
I've already made the fans mad.
My vote was gonna be Shooter, because I was like, MJF goes for the ring, Ref gets distracted, Shooter hits him with a golf club.
I could see that too, though.
But with Mrs. Crossfire and my votes, now with 8 votes to 6, your winner of the pre-show is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Okay.
MJF.
So MJF winner. Whew. Match number 2, we have the Sandy Bottoms versus Fever Dream. This one was also a landslide, and even if we both vote for the one that's below, they're still gonna lose. But for the sake of it, who is your pick for Team Sandy Bottoms versus Team Fever Dream?
Sandy Bottoms.
Well, you know what? Because I'm just a massive nerd, and I love SpongeBob so much. There's actually a photo of me. I had a SpongeBob phone case when I was 19 years old. Because I'm a grown man, I do whatever the fuck I want. I think I've actually got the phone case somewhere, despite not even having that phone more. I'm gonna go Team Sandy Bottoms, and that's with your winner with 10 votes to 4. Team Sandy Bottoms.
Your winner is the Sandy Bottoms.
Yeah, this is where Mrs. Crossfire should be practicing. Okay, so match number 3 is Rocky Maivia versus Tarzan. Again, this one was surprisingly a landslide. And I'm voting for the loser. Spoiler alert, but who is your vote?
Oh.
That's what I love. Some of these are just like the fans go, fuck what Mrs. Crossfire thinks and what Mrs. Crossfire thinks. We make the rules now.
I'm kind of like... it's kind of like teetering. I don't know who to pick. Tarzan. Let's go Tarzan.
That was also my vote. But with 8 votes to 6,
damn it!
The winner is the young upstart, Rocky Maivia.
The winner is Rocky Maivia.
See, and I want you guys as well, when you listen to this, especially, I know Daniel Paul will probably listen to this at some point. Can we get some feedback on Mrs. Crossfire's ring announcing here? Because she worries that she sounds too American. But I feel
need
like
to
it's
fix
fine.
it though. It's a little bit whiny and
there is some people in Australia for promotions I won't name because I'm not a spiteful prick. They do have great talent. This person in particular, he is trying really hard to be Howard Finkel, and I understand being inspired by people like I do a frog splash because I was inspired by Eddie Guerrero. It's fucking ugly compared to his, and that's okay. But, like, I'm not trying to be Eddie Guerrero, whereas this guy wanted to be a ring announcer, and he's trying to be Howard Finkel, and I'm just like, yeah. Like, for example, shout out to Gemstone. She's living her Lillian Garcia fantasy. That is her exact quote. But she is a fucking phenomenal ring announcer, and she's just being herself.
Yeah, and she's kind of gave me some good advice, so I'm, like, trying to take that and like, run with it, so...
But yeah, like, just... Yeah. Let us know, because, like, I feel like on the actual night you'll probably be more Aussie, because you won't really be shouting, it's more just projecting.
Yeah, well, I think mainly the thing is, that's because, like, Garcia is pretty much my main influence.
Yes, as well.
And then you look at, as well... Oh, I can't think of it.
You've been looking at Justin Roberts a lot.
Yes,
of WCW.
yes.
David
Justin
Pinzer,
Roberts.
People may remember him from WCW,
yes.
but he's currently been doing Impact for the last, I think, 2 years, and did him like in the past as well. But this current run, I think he's actually it might even be 3 years, because I think it was just at the start of COVID that they picked him back up. But yeah, it was just let us know what you think. I think she does a beautiful job, and I can't wait to see.
You just say that because you're married to me.
Okay, match number 3 on the main card. So match number 4 all up. Godzilla versus Andre the Giant. Last man standing match now. Oh, this is going to be a fucking close one. Who is your vote?
Ooh. I am going to go with... I think I might actually go Andre.
Andre?
Yeah, I'm going to go against who I picked, yeah.
Well, in that case, I will also go Andre. So your winner with a vote of 9-6. That could have been really close. If you had have gone with Godzilla, I would have been the tiebreaker. With 9-6, Andre the Giant defeats Godzilla. So here is your winner.
Your winner, Andre the Giant.
And, like, obviously when you're talking into, like, an actual microphone with speakers, it'll be, like, you won't feel like... Because, like, even doing it on the pod, you feel like
bit out of breath.
You're forcing it yourself as well. And, like, no, I'm just... Here's your winner, Andre the Giant.
Like, everyone does it so well. They do, like, the gruff, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so girly. I don't know how to do that. Tour guide Barbie.
Raw.
Like, that's kind of how I said, Tour guide Barbie.
Also, though, sequels, Toy Story 2. Like, Toy Story 3 made me cry because of the ending, but Toy Story 2 is undefeated. Fuck number 4, though. But it just reminds me where they're doing the Barbie tour, and they're like, keep your feet inside the vehicle, and like Mr. Potato Head, like, loses a fucking hand or something.
Keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.
So, fuck, who did I say won? That Andre won.
Yes, okay. Andre, yep.
I don't have room on my paper. Andre W. I can barely even fucking read that. Okay, so Dean Winchester versus John Cena at match number 4 on the main card. Who is your vote?
Who is my vote?
And again, neither of our votes really matter this much, because, spoiler alert, this one's going to be a landslide as well.
See that's...
Which made me kind of sad. I thought it was an even match.
I'm going to say Dean, but I reckon everyone's going to go with Cena. Like,
so my vote was Cena because it's the Doctor. I wanted to be the Doctor of Thugonomics when I was 13, alright? Fuck, well,
so is everyone else, I bet you.
Had my John Cena shorts. I had no shit, you can ask my mum. I probably had about 5
Got those jorts?
I had about 5 or 6 different pairs of jorts. So, like, literally, you know, depending on the weather, you can wear the same pair of jeans or same pair of shorts 2 days in a row, right?
Yes.
I had a pair of fucking jean shorts for every day of the week.
Yes.
And more often than not, it was paired with a John Cena t-shirt, and a lot of them were, like, the bootlegs that came from, like, the Asian markets and stuff.
Yes.
In saying that, though, some of those designs were cooler than the official ones at the time, and in fairness,
now
a lot fucking
it's a fashion
cheaper.
Style.
Yeah, I actually...
I love bootleg.
I have a bootleg style John Crossfire shirt on, and there's currently a sale on until November 27th, American time, so cheap plug, 20% off.
Yeah.
Go buy it. I don't think I've actually sold one of that design yet, but here's what it is.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, so then you said Dean, yeah?
Yeah, I want Dean.
Okay, well then, your winner with 10 votes to 4 with ours included, the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Of course.
He cheated, alright? Like, it's alright. He low-blowed him, hit him with the FU, Like Dean still looked very strong, brother. It was his, very big showing, breakout moment. Showed that he was going to be a bigger star than his brother. They all thought that Dean was going to be the Marty Jannetty to Sam's Shawn Michaels. I think it's just because Sam had the longer hair, but no, it's all right. Dean had a good breakout moment.
Oh, man.
All right, so your winner.
Your winner is the Doctor of Thugonomics.
John Cena!
You didn't even let me finish! John Cena!
Just had to throw that out because you mentioned, I do love, as much as I'm not a big fan of Mox, I love that Justin Roberts has carried that over for John Moxley.
Yeah.
John Moxley!
I mean, like, my voice is just kind of doing like, John.
Sounds like a Jake.
I sound like, ugh.
Kind of sounds like
I'm
the Jake
sick
break
when I try and
to
do
like
it.
a truck or something, to be honest. John! Well, I'm going to have to, like, really equalize this so that it's not, like, super
I'm
yelly.
trying
I'm watching the levels when I did that.
Sorry, fam.
I'm getting too close
keep
to the microphone as well.
Keep your volume down low, fam. We too loud.
My bad. That's so me. Okay. Match number 5, hair versus hair. Bianca Belair versus Rapunzel. What is your vote? This is a very close one.
I'm gonna say Rapunzel.
Ooh.
It's not because she's my pick. I'm just gonna say it.
Okay. Well, I also was going to pick Rapunzel. So now it's gone from being close to your winner. 9 votes to 5. We had the chance to tie this up at 7-7. Rapunzel.
Woo!
So Bianca Belair
Homegirl.
is now getting shaved bald. Now, I was already thinking about this when I booked this match, because we made the joke of, I originally was going to use a picture of Rapunzel holding the frying pan for the promo photo, but then I'm like, it kind of, you had to have the hair focused in the promo photos, and in my head, I don't know if it's necessarily a heel turn, but because she's so desperate to keep that luscious hair, because like Bianca Belair has pretty hair, but if Rapunzel loses her hair, her whole thing is she loses her power. She could die.
Yeah.
Rapunzel could die.
Yeah, she's cheating her way
so
through
her
it.
little chameleon fucking lizard dude jumps up on the ref's shoulder. The ref freaks out. What the fuck's going on?
She pulls
Our
out
pals
the
are frying pan.
Yes!
Bianca's out cold. 1, 2, 3. Rapunzel shaves Bianca bald.
Savage.
And then that's the paradox of, does it continue? Does she become a heel? Or, like, she could die.
Yeah.
Lose your hair and die, or win the match and shave someone else.
Yeah.
Is that a heel turn? Is it just...
Or is she just fighting for survival?
Right.
And survival series. Right.
This needs to be real. Someone get a hold of this, turn it into a video game. I don't know how you're going to pay them millions upon millions to get Disney and WWE and fucking Godzilla and Warner Bros. And Scooby-Doo and everything. But, like...
Yes.
I guess, technically, in a way, we have kind of technically broke the rules, because although they are separate universes, now that I think about it, I just remembered there was actually that Scooby-Doo Supernatural crossover. So they do
yeah, but it's
because I just said Warner Bros. And I was like, there's two, no, but like...
I was like,
no, it's still technically, it's more of a crossover than an actual multiverse thing like Marvel's are going on. But no, so yeah, Rapunzel, her little chameleon, that's actually... Tangled is one of my it's top 5 best Disney movies ever in my opinion. It's one of my favorites, and I can't think of the fucking little guy's name, but yeah. You could even have Flynn Rider do a run in. You're like, who knows? He runs in on the horse to save her.
Yeah.
There's so many options. Oh, the fucking is he a chameleon or is he a gecko?
I think
maybe a gecko. Is he?
He's a chameleon.
Chameleon because he changed his color. Yeah, that's right. The chameleon distracts the ref. Flynn distracts Bianca. It's a severe overbooked fucking clusterfuck.
Yes.
Rapunzel's mother tries to cost her the match. It's all happening. But Rapunzel hits Bianca with the frying pan, knocks her out cold. So what did I say? 9-5. Rapunzel wins.
Woohoo.
Rapunzel winner. Okay, match number 6 on the main card. Match number 7 all up. Piper versus the Riddler. Now, this one was also a landslide, and we also had one that I wasn't expecting. We had shout out to Sean, you mother Kanaka. he actually, rather than do the appropriate react, he actually commented on the photo for this one on the podcast page, and he suggested that this match would actually go to a time limit draw.
Oh, I like that though.
And the thing that pisses me off is, to me, that makes the most sense. However, the votes are quite the landslide.
Oh man!
And this is why I like this, because I hate saying fan votes, but listeners, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like having interaction, because it's interesting. Like, we'd all book it in our own different ways, and that's why I love wrestling. Like, so many people online, like we've ranted about it so many times, but they always
like people could shit on me.
Should be this way or this way. It's like, no, like I want to know why you're thinking this way, and that's like...
Yeah, it's like people could shit on me for literally having MJF in the friggin' pre-show, but when you listen to the reason behind it, the psychology, it makes sense.
Because you've built your whole card in your opinion. I've built my whole card in my opinion. Yeah. And then this is what you have to do in an actual wrestling fucking company when there's more than one people is you need to sit there and go, I think this because of this.
And you know what?
Dude, the amount of times I've seen scissors, paper, rock used in a fucking wrestling locker room, I don't even care, because I've been lucky enough, like, you know, you get your politicians of, that doesn't work for me, brother. Yeah. But I've seen people, like, literally argue over who's going to lose, because they don't want the other person to look bad, and it's literally scissors, paper, rock for who gets to win, like, or who gets to choose to lose.
Thinking about it from, like, a business mind, too, you've kind of got to pander a little bit to what the fans want, but at the same time, you've got to go, fuck the fans, because you want to do these cool storylines, and you've got to keep them, like, engaged. They can't always get what they want, and they have to know that. Like,
Vince McMahon as a person is a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
But since Triple H took over, the product hasn't actually changed that much. The flow has gotten a little bit better from the transitions between segments.
Yeah.
But for a year, if not 2 years, I dare say almost 2 years, the quality of the product was still the same.
Yeah.
Like, the whole Bloodline thing, to me, it's only just starting to get stale after 3 years. Everyone said it was stale a year in because of short attention spans. And I'm like, dude, I've got ADHD. I should have been over it. And let's say, yeah, okay, I'm a mark for Roman, but look at all the stuff that Usos did in between that. And look at what it's done for Solo. Solo is going to be a massive fucking star coming out of this.
Yeah.
That all started under Vince, and Roman being, quote-unquote, Vince's boy, and Triple H has just ran with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Austin Theory, under Vince, they said he was the chosen one. Same thing that happened with Drew McIntyre. Because Vince on screen said that this was the guy, they shat on him. Triple H is very slowly but surely, with that pairing with Grayson Waller, he's putting Theory back up on that level. And let's not forget that WrestleMania was under Triple H's booking. Yeah, Vince was still advising. Cena went over clean, 1, 2, 3. Match wasn't as great as John Cena's done in the past, but considering the role that Cena is in now, I thought it was done beautifully.
Yeah.
Fantastic opener, low blow finisher, 1, 2, 3. Cena did the honors.
Yeah.
He beat Mysterio, literally, I think it was actually the Raw after Mania 2 days later, or it may have been the week after, but within the span of a week of WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio went into Hall of Fame. He beat Dominic, had the blow-off. Theory beats him. And eventually Theory lost the title to Rey down the line, but he's still featured every single week.
Yep.
And again, I went on a rant, but that was all something that Vince originally did start.
Yeah.
And Hunter Paul, whatever the fuck you want to call him. I hate when people use wrestlers' real names just to be cool, but he's Paul Levesque because he's like whatever his position is, they call him. Yeah, like the press conferences and stuff. But he's literally taken what Vince did and he's building upon that. Like, if it wasn't for what Vince did, and it's the same with AEW, and this is my gripe.
Yeah. I
understand the storylines, Tony can do whatever he wants, but because he tries so hard to pander to the fan, there has been more stop-starts in AEW in the last 5 years than WWE's probably had as a whole in 10. And I get it's apples and oranges. One's been around for over 50. One's still very much in its infancy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But how many people are like, oh, this guy, like, they were cheering for this guy, and that push was just pulled away because then Tony put down the action figure and picked up another one, like, it's just...
Yeah.
It is what it is, but at the end of the day, as you say,
So
it's doing what he wants.
Yeah, you can.
I feel like if you stopped listening to the fans so much, it would be more consistent.
Yeah,
in
like
AEW.
you can pander to the fans a bit because you need that. You need that fan interaction, but at the same time, you need to do some shit that makes them go fuck. Like I wasn't expecting that. I don't like this, and then you kind of go. They'll go, oh, I just want to see how this plays out. And then they go, oh, shit, and it changes their mind.
Like the thing that pisses me off is people go, oh, they shouldn't do this because it's predictable. Or shouldn't do this because it's obvious.
I'm sorry, but wrestling's been around for
Look
fucking
at what
years. A
happened
lot
in
of
the
stuff's
Attitude
going to
Era,
be
right?
like, you know,
the Attitude Era, when it
recycled.
started, you had the swerve. Vince Russo, swerve, bro. But then when he went to WCW, it was swerving for the sake of swerving. And look at how that fucking ended. Like, if, for example, this year's Royal Rumble, Cody announced he was returning at the Rumble. They counted it down. He was number 30. He won the Rumble. But how well was that executed? This year's Rumble, good. Like last year's Rumble was, whatever, Lesnar won, and it was still a decent Rumble, but the surprises were like, man. But this year's Rumble, the format, the way it was laid out, super predictable, but was executed fucking perfectly almost.
As like...
And Gunther broke the record. If he had have gone like a minute more, he would have broke the record that Bryan set in the 50-man Rumble.
I think it was a Battle Royal or something. It was for a shot at the title. I can't even remember who it was against, but it was Gigi Dolan and...
the NXT ones, yeah.
That
and it
was
came down to Gigi and JC and...
Like, how many times have we seen, they're going to fall, they both fall at the same time, now it's a three-way. That's been done so many times, but that, I don't know why...
And it was
but it was done well.
Because it was just after Mandy had gotten fired, and they'd already had tensions when Mandy was there anyway, and then it was to face Roxanne. And it turned into the triple threat. It was done, and like, for example, like if Cody, I don't want him to necessarily win the Rumble again. Like my pick, to be honest, I'd say have Gunther enter one again and win because he's just been on a tear. But if Cody was to face Roman next year and dethrone him, I mean, like, there'd be people online be like, well, you should have done it last year, this and that. But as Cody keeps saying over and over, I have to finish the story. Like, it's just that long-term fucking...
They're building. And what I like about it, I hate things that don't have any friggin' build or make no sense.
Everyone says they want long-term storytelling, right?
And then they get sick of it.
But then this is boring, or this is going to happen.
But the thing is, they're usually people that don't understand the psychology behind it, though.
For example, right, WWE announced Randy Orton as the surprise opponent for this week, and we haven't. I think we've done all but the main event, so that's fine. We're only just over an hour here, so we can rant a little bit.
Yeah.
There's lots of rumors. It's in Chicago. CM Punk this, CM Punk that. I've said my piece on the pod. Even when he returned, I said on the pod, I love Punk, but I'm not expecting much from this run, and look how it ended, and it pisses people off, but I was right. And it's not the case of me going, I was always right. No, but like with this particular one, I was just like, no, like it didn't. I was getting vibes.
Yeah.
It turned out to be right. But anyway, they announced Randy just because they thought Punk was going to be the surprise person, right? But he didn't show up, and they're like, why would you announce him and then have him not show up? I'm like, because when it comes to Survivor Series, Judgment Day have the man advantage. Which means that the very last person to come out, though, is still going to be Team Cody.
Yeah.
That last person is going to be Randy Orton. Have something like he gets attacked or something backstage so that he's not in the cage. And then, remember when KO went to War Games in NXT?
Yeah.
There was a mystery person.
It's unexpected.
His music hit.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was a surprise pop, it was huge. And I understand, if it had been a surprise, it would have been cooler. But no, the rumours and stuff were that there is a chance that it could be Randy. So it wasn't a complete surprise anyway. So I feel like...
You kind of know what it is if they do that. It's kind of like a dog trying to throw you off the scent.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Because they've probably flipped it because they've had all these rumours and it's like to make it more of a surprise, they're doing this shit to fuck with you.
Yeah, but that's what I mean though. Like, so KO was a complete surprise, right? And because it was a surprise, the pop was massive. And I get people's arguments of should have kept it as a surprise. But there's been rumours for months with Orton. We know there's been in the conversation, so it wouldn't have been a complete surprise.
Yeah.
So do what you did with Cody at the Rumble. It's literally full circle. We know it's him. Oh shit, he's been taken out, or like something. He's, not in the cage. Clock counts down, and then his theme song, because if he was in the cage, his theme song wouldn't hit. His theme song hits, he comes out, hits a fucking RKO on Rhea, because that's a spot that almost has to happen, because Orton doesn't give a fuck. But just think of that pop, like, okay, it's Randy, but you're not going to see him to Survivor Series, and then you build it, because it's going to be the main event on that night. So have him be the last person to come out, and you build that anticipation. That's predictable, but in that situation, it works so well.
I'm trying to think of, I think it's the Survivor Series that I watched. Was it 2019? The one that NXT was in?
Yes, the very first Survivor Series you watched live was 2019, and they did, every match had all three brands, and then they did...
Something happened. I think Dakota come out, and she attacked Tegan Nox, and then she went out instead. Dakota did.
Oh no, that was the war. Else? It was the War Games that same weekend.
That was the War Games.
That was when she turned heel on her and left him high and dry. And I think it ended up being like 2-on-4 for Team Rhea, and she still won, or 3-on-4, whatever it was. I think it was 2 because there was someone got taken out.
I was thinking, could you friggin' even do that? And then it sets up a storyline with friggin' Randy and fucking Punk.
Randy goes to come out.
Yeah, and Punk fucking attacks him.
Well, even if it's not Punk though, like. Randy,
yeah.
Even if Randy is already still in the cage, right? Yeah. He goes to come out, and either someone stops him, because Jey Uso's on his team. The last match Randy Orton had was against the Usos, where he got injured. Now, it wasn't intentional.
One of them comes over with a padlock and locks him in.
Exactly, like Rhea does something to him. Like, there's so many options, whether he's already in the cage, whether he gets taken out. Randy almost has to be somehow, and again, this is... Survivor Series hasn't happened, yet. But surely he's going to be the last person to enter that match.
Yeah.
Which is predictable. But the fucking pop after... Yeah. What is it? It's been like 1 year and 3-4 months, if not a little bit more. It's been close to 18 months, right? Like, that is predictable. But there's nothing wrong with that.
That's it, yeah.
And that's our rant. But like...
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to come back to the main event now. I believe I did the winner was... Oh, no, I haven't actually done Roddy yet. So, yeah, Roddy and the Riddler.
Whoops.
It was all because Sean didn't take the predictable route. So, Roddy and the Riddler, there's one vote for a draw with Sean, but it is a landslide the rest of the way. So, Roddy versus the Riddler, who's your pick?
I'm going to say Roddy.
I'd also say Roddy, just because I love Roddy. So, that would mean... with 11 votes to 3, or if you factor in Sean's being a vote for each, 12 votes to 4, winner Roddy Piper.
Okay.
But yeah, like, long story short, there's nothing wrong with predictability, and I think they should have Randy Orton be the last person to come out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the main event, it's War Games!
War Games.
We have Captain Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack. I can't
Cactus Jack.
I was like, he literally, in my head when I read it before, I was like, I only read 4 names.
Did somebody say Jack Black? No.
Peaches.
Peaches.
Cactus Jack, Sammy Callahan, Matt Cardona, John Moxley, and Eddie Edwards, a.k.a. the Death Dealers, versus Mystery Inc.
I'm going Death Dealers not because they're my pick, but... it makes sense.
I also went with the Death Dealers. So that makes it, with 11 votes to 3, Mystery Incorporated finally find a mystery they couldn't solve, and they got fucking massacred inside the War Games.
Sorry, fam.
Should I say, joinks, jinkies, or ruh-roh? Oh boy, my glasses! I can't find my glasses! And then Sammy Callahan steps on them and slams her into it because it's broken glass.
Yes! Woo!
Intergender wrestling, fight me!
Yes.
So your winners will be...
I can just see someone, probably like Cactus Jack, or someone just choking out Fred with the cravat thing around his neck.
Scooby-Doo takes a fucking thumbtack, mum.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like that would be worse for me to watch than like intergender deathmatch stuff. Like I'm not like I enjoy deathmatch, but some of it does make me cringe. But like the thought of I know he's a fake dog, but the thought of a dog getting hurt like pisses me off and upsets me more.
I cry when dogs die in movies. Don't even get me started.
So let's rewind all the way back now. So we had MJF versus Shooter McGavin on the pre-show. Your winner was MJF.
Woo.
We go to the main show, the opening traditional Survivor Series tag team match. The Sandy Bottoms defeated Team Fever Dream. Rocky Maivia defeated Tarzan. Andre the Giant defeated Godzilla in a last man standing match. John Cena defeated Gene Winchester. Rapunzel defeats Bianca Belair in a hair versus hair match. I still say the finish has to come with the frying pan somehow, a way or another. And then the question is, again, as I said, is it a heel turn or was she just trying to survive? Roddy Piper defeats the Riddler. And then in your main event, the Death Dealers fucking massacre Scooby-Doo and Mystery Incorporated.
I just want to say I do good booking because I got 5 out of 8. You got 3 out of 8.
Yeah, actually,
buddy.
yeah, if you're keeping score there, yeah. 5 of Mrs. Crossfire's picks. Yes, okay. In saying that, I did vote for some of yours, and you actually did vote for some of mine too.
I did vote for some of yours
okay,
too.
I guess if we're keeping score here, you win
Woo!
absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Alright, so, Mrs. Crossfire.
Low budgets.
The reason we did this whole thing was because you have been watching, like, you've actually been watching more WWE with me lately than you have the past few months, but you're still not completely caught up, so we didn't do this traditional Survivor Series Mark-A-Palooza, but we still wanted to do it because this is the 3rd year of the pod now, and we've done 3, well, technically 2nd year, but it'll be 3 years in June, but it's fallen on 3 Survivor Series now. Each Survivor Series we have done a Mark-A-Palooza. I think the very first Mark-A-Palooza actually was the first Mark-A-Palooza for Survivor Series that we did.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy this format a lot more because it helps keep my brain ready when I make the graphics and stuff as well, and yada yada yada. But you do know what the matches are. I'm going to read them out, and you know the storylines semi-involved.
Yeah.
There's only 5 matches so far because
I keep up online. It's mainly more I just don't get time.
as
to
we
watch
record this, it's Friday. It's going to drop literally as SmackDown starts tomorrow because I wanted to drop it the day before Survivor Series. So there could be more matches announced. There might not. I think it'd be silly to mount small because with 2 War Games matches, you need the time for those anyway.
Yeah.
But I digress. The main event. We have Team Cody, which is Cody, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton, as just announced on Raw. I cannot wait. I hope he uses I don't know if you've listened to it yet, but the remixed version or the redone version of voices that Red Theory just did.
I've heard it yet.
It's a little bit slower and more methodical, but I feel like it actually fits Randy better. But versus the Judgment Day plus Drew, or the Drudgment Day as I was trying to call them, but Drew's technically not in the Judgment Day, but for the sake of Survivor Series, they have a name, damn it. Not actually, but that's what I'm calling them. So we've got JD McDonough, who's officially in now, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio in War Games. Now, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want Team Cody to win now just because Randy is coming back.
Yeah. Mark me says the same thing.
I feel like it's really hard because there's different layers, and in a way they've kept us guessing, right? Because people have even said, what if Priest cashes in the middle of the war?
Yeah, you never know. Like with him,
is that a loophole to get Finn the title or Dom the title because they're all on the team? Like how would that work? Because it's technically. But I think
or is that a loophole where they get mad at him because he gets the title, but they could technically get the title? And
that's what I'm saying. Like I think.
More dissension.
I think Team Cody wins because the Judgment Day, besides Cody's singles matches, because Cody fucking destroyed Priest at Crown Jewel. I mean, it took 4 Crossroads all up because he did 1 earlier in the match and then he did the 3 in the row. But he decimated, decisive victory at least, I guess I'd say, against Priest in the singles match. But I think Team Cody wins is my prediction, but. And this is more wishful thinking or hoping, but I feel like this is finally where Priest cashes in. I'm not going to say whether or not he is or isn't going to be successful, but I feel like, because keep in mind there is still the 2 cases as well, and there is the contract in this one, is it in that one? Yeah. That could lead to something completely different for the Ascension, because Finn's upset because they're like, there's no leader. Yes. And 2 weeks ago, Priest goes, no, I'm Mr. Money in the Bank. I'm the leader.
Yeah.
So dissension has well and truly started.
Yeah.
He hated JD McDonough, refused to let him in. He's finally let him in. So now that he's finally let him in, obviously the group's going to disband, right?
Yeah.
But I think my prediction is Team Cody, but I do think that at some point Priest will finally cash in.
Yeah, I agree with
Team
that.
Cody?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then we have Damage Control with the newly added Asuka. We have Bayley, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane versus Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. Rebecca Lynch. I think that's another reason we kept saying fucking Rebecca before, because we had it written here for the predictions. Which, again, and that's the thing. And this is where I'm hypocritical, because it was predictable. And it was like, oh, it's just Becky. Which sucks, because I'm a huge fan of Becky. But I was hoping for someone else. I feel like Jade Cargill would have been a good breakout moment, because I'm not the biggest fan of hers, but I feel like she already has been treated like a star. And I've said multiple times that whether people want to shit on the WWE system and being formulaic and blah, 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 that's the perfect place for Jade Cargill to become a star and to really hone her craft, in my opinion. So, yeah, I was hoping it was Jade Cargill, but it ended up being Becky. But, yeah, we've got Charlotte, Becky, Bianca, and Shotzi versus Bayley, Asuka, Io, Kairi. Who's your prediction for that? Because for me, and I know it's like just because the babyface wins, the heel wins other. We've had one with faces and one both heels and one both. I feel like with the way the new turn from Asuka, I think Damage Control have to get it.
Yeah.
The only way I see Damage Control losing is if Bayley's the one that takes the pin.
Yeah. That's the only way I can see it too.
And again, I know that I basically
they've already started to see a little bit of dissension as well.
Yeah, and I know I basically
like
just said the same thing.
Bayley's starting to go, like, she's getting excluded from the group kind of thing. Like, you're getting those vibes.
Yeah, like, I basically just said the same thing with the Judgment Day. And this is where I will agree with people. Like, when they say WWE is the same thing, they have too many similar storylines at the same time. I will give guys that. But it's like, it is what it is. Everyone has different people they hang out with, and everyone has different experiences. Why can't, at the same time, like, why can't multiple people have issues at the same time? That's what wrestling's built on. But, like, it's just a little too similar to me with, like, the new people. But no, I feel like...
Yeah.
I feel like Damage Control, I think Damage Control will get the win, is my official prediction.
I'm the same. Because I can see that, because just watching the other day, I was kind of like, can start to see the dissension here. Kind of like, looks like that's where they're going with it. That's what I'm vibing.
Who would you have take the pin? Because I feel like the odd one out in this situation is Shotzi, but to me, I'd have... Even if it's, I'd say Bayley gets the pin because she actually steals the win off Asuka or someone.
Yeah.
I'd have her actually pin Becky. Because they made the big deal of, you need an extra member, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I feel like that makes good sense.
But no,
like,
my official prediction, regardless of the outcome, or like how the finish goes, is I think Damage Control gets the win for this one.
They get the win. I'm just trying to think, like... Yeah, I think
because even if they get the win, you can still continue that dissension as well.
Yeah.
But no, I think this
the pin either has to be on Shotzi or it could be on Becky. Yeah, because that could lead to something a little bit more as well. Just the back and forth between Bayley and them with Shotzi lately too. It kind of makes sense that she'd pin Shotzi, but Becky being the one that's got the call too makes sense as well. So both of those kind of make sense.
Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus The Miz.
Ooh, I feel like Gunther's going to retain again.
I love The Miz. Don't get me wrong. I love The Miz. Gunther is on a tear. Like, I've gone on record, and for whatever my opinion's fucking worth, he is now officially, he's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's in the record books. But I truly think, and there's been a lot of great Intercontinental Champions, Shawn Michaels, Eddie, RVD, like Mr. Perfect, all these people that I've looked up to.
Yeah.
But look at, it's kind of sound hypocritical because I shit on Dave Meltzer's fucking rating system. But Gunther's already gotten 3 or 4 5-star matches for that Intercontinental Championship. It's very rare that matches in the WWE specifically because Dave shits on the fact that they're formulaic and they're predictable, and that's why he takes the rating. He literally gave Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels a 4.75 because the layout of the match was predictable. As if it wasn't still one of the greatest matches I've ever fucking seen. And one, especially when it comes to actual WrestleMania matches, but that's another story. And every time we watch Joe Hendry, he brings up that Kurt Angle's never had a 5-star match, and that's a fact that didn't even think of, and now you're like, wait, how is that even possible? But
yeah, that's wild.
But yeah, Gunther, he's had multiple 5-star matches. To steal a phrase from Sheamus, Gunther has had banger after banger after banger.
Banger after banger after banger.
I truly think he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Like, he honestly... And if he's not, he at least has to be top 3, top 5 at most, right? Like, Jericho has the most reigns. The whole thing is Miz could tie for the most reigns in WWE. Jericho would still beat him because he has 10, because you count the IWG Intercontinental. Which is funny because WWE counts the IWGP World title as a World Championship, but they don't count the Intercontinental Champion just because it's Chris Jericho and he's in AEW.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Michael Cole this past week on Raw as we record this, he's like, he will tie with Chris, and he literally went to say Chris Jericho, and obviously someone said something in his ear, and it was, oh, he will tie with the most Intercontinental titles of all win. It's like, well, for the WWE Intercontinental, yeah, it'd be 9 if he did, but it was just so funny that they're going that far to, oh, we include Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles and Shinsuke as former IWGP Heavyweight Champions, but we're not going to include the IC title just because Jericho's held it. Like, that's Jericho's a 10-time. If Miz wins it, he'd only be a 9-time. And I get for that specific WWE Intercontinental Champion to tie, but the way they're saying it, they're like, it's all time. It's like, no, Jericho got 10 in Japan, so...
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Well, in a way, it actually doesn't. But like the way they're wording it is, they're saying all-time Intercontinental. Like they're just living in their bubble, as WWE has done for like quite some time. But it's grinding on me every time they say it. But no, it has to be Gunther. It has to be Gunther. I love Miz, but it's Gunther. Yeah. That's definitely my rant. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defends against Zoe Stark.
Rhea.
Again.
She's my girl. And
as much as
Zoe, but
if Zoe was to win, I would pop so fucking hard. You have no idea, because she has come such a long way, and I was really concerned when she had that the knee injury. I'm glad she come back from that. She's had history with that, but she is a ridiculously athletic. She's trained with some of the best trainers in this business. But I just don't think it's quite her time yet.
I feel like she's
it's going to be a case of yet. Yeah. It's the old adage, and again, my opinion could be worth whatever the fuck it's worth, but you don't have to go over to get over. I feel like this is going to be because this is the first time really, like even when she was against Shayna and Nia, Rhea was still Rhea. She's actually backed off from Zoe a couple times the last few weeks. They've tried to make her look like a believable threat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like this is going to be a case of where she's going to get so close, and whether it's by Dom interference or even if it is a clean victory, I feel like Zoe's still going to come out looking like $1 million, but it has to be Rhea.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's just not her time yet. Like, she's not there yet, but she is fantastic.
This one is one of those things where it was predictable, but I feel like it was also rushed. And it was the heel turn of Santo Escobar. I think like apparently Ray's knee injury actually was, I don't know if it actually was a work or if it's real because he's had history with it, but apparently he did have some sort of minor surgery that's not going to take as long to recover from, but it was still there. But they turned Santos heel, and now they've got Carlito versus Santos. We all thought that Carlito was going to be the cause of LWO turning heel as a whole, but babyface Carlito versus heel Santos. The turn itself, Mrs Crossfire still hasn't seen it. She saw the highlight video when they played it. I was actually, despite the fact that it did feel a bit rushed, again, the execution of it though was still well done. I actually was more emotionally invested in it than when Batista turned on Ray with the whole, you were supposed to be my friend. Like it was literally like they pushed each other. Sorry. Pushed each other. Sorry. They slapped each other. Sorry. And then Santos out of nowhere just starts launching into Ray, fucking throws his knee into the stairs and starts just smashing his knee. And it was this, I don't want to hurt you, and then he just snapped. And then this past week...
He's kind of like, actually, I do really want to hurt you.
The promo cut last week, was kind of cringy, but at the same time it was funny. He's like, I hope your leg gets infected and it has to be amputated. And I was like, you know what? As cheesy as that line was, it works. Because he's like, I had some of these feelings, but I didn't want them to creep through because, like, you were my hero. And it was kind of like rose-colored glasses. Like, you can literally, like when Chris Jericho was a heel in 2008, the reason he was such a good heel was because everything he was saying about Shawn Michaels, everything he was saying about John Cena and every other generic babyface here was true. And the truth hurts. And true, Santos was injured. Ray took his spot. Ray won the US Championship. Santos never really got a proper shot for the US Championship. Santos then cost Ray the championship with leaving the brass knucks. Whether he did it on purpose or not, it's still fuel to the fire sort of thing, right? Like, it's just... And he's basically like, I wish I had been the one that hit you with those brass knucks. Like, he was fighting those feelings. He was having them and he didn't want to because he wanted Rey Mysterio to be on this pedestal because he wanted to be that little kid that looked up to Rey. But then the greed, the spotlight, the glory, it all just kind of... It overtook.
Like, oh my gosh.
Like, fucking Cortez... Is it Cortez in Crash Bandicoot?
I think so,
There's one where you actually use them, they team up, and they're trying to get the crystals. And Crash finally learns why Cortez is such a psycho, because it drives him crystal crazy, in the words of Cortez. And it's like, bro, that actually makes so much sense. Like, he saw the light, but the light was actually just shrouded in darkness at the end of the day. Like, it was all just a facade. But
it's kind of like when you look at it and it's like you have these rose-colored glasses, like you said, like when you like have this fixation on celebrity and then you meet them and like don't meet your heroes, and you meet them and they're such a dick kind of vibe.
This is a great example here, because look, all respect to Carlito and everything he's done, and my prediction's Santos, and this isn't why I'm picking Santos, but I just feel like Carlito, I will still give him his due. He's in a position where we just ranted for 5 minutes about the Ray turn rather than the match, but Carlito's in a position where that doesn't matter, right? Like, Santos is in the heel position he is because he took out Ray. Carlito can be there, still be relevant because he is still Carlito. I'll still give him that.
Yeah.
But he was a dick to me because I didn't realise some people charge for photos, others don't. He was charging, I didn't have money, and was like, oh. And he literally just turned his back on me because I didn't have money. Like, how fucking rude can you get? But anyway. But yeah, I think Santos has to win. And again, because of Carlito's reputation, because of, like, as a performer, you know, his character, everything, he is in a spot where he can lose, and he's still Carlito. Like, he's still a star. Like, I'm not ever going to take that away from him. But I think Santos has to get the win here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Santos as well.
But it can go either way. He could lose and Carlito's trying to humble him, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse and sends him on a spiral. Like,
could even get to the point where it starts to go to Carlito's head, and then he's just like, you know what, Ray, fuck you, and then goes and joins Santos anyway. They become like a tag team or something.
Well, I'm like, you've got to factor in
on him.
He's not Raul Mendoza anymore. He's Cruz del Toro. Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, not Joaquin Phoenix. I call him Joaquin Phoenix all the time when I'm watching it. I'm like, that's the fucking actor. Side note, we still need to watch Joker. But I feel like they're going to factor into the finish somehow, or at least Zelina.
Yeah.
And it's either going to be accidentally whichever one loses, they're either going to cost them the victory, whether on accident or on purpose remains to be seen. But the loser, I feel, is going to be a direct result of some sort of LWO interference, for better or for worse. But I think my prediction has to be Santos.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense. You made a good point there with that one.
But do you see any more matches being added? Because I don't think they've added a pre-show yet, but I don't really know.
I don't know, because sometimes, have they been having a pre-show every time?
They have the pre-show, but they haven't really been putting the matches on the pre-show lately a lot.
Because when I've kind of been like watching here and there when we have
because Saudi they did one, but I think that was more just because it was a special pay-per-view because it was overseas and they just wanted Sammy on the card and yada yada yada. But I don't know, because I feel like KO versus Theory or Waller could get added at the last minute. LA Knights not doing anything, so I feel like, you know, there could be probably maybe even a segment or two here or there. maybe even a surprise, because KO's actually on the Grayson Waller effect.
There could even be like there's something that happens backstage before like a segment like you said, and then it's like, okay, well, you guys are having this match, like,
because we've got the Grayson Waller effect on SmackDown tomorrow as we record this with KO, so it could lead to either the KO show being on Survivor Series with them in return, or he has LA Knight on just to get Knight on the card, or maybe a throwaway tag match. And I say throwaway, but I don't mean like literally, like it is filler, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like could be like Knight and KO versus Waller in theory, or something to that effect. Dragon Lee's been getting featured lately, so he could be doing something. But at the moment, we've got 5 matches. Those are our predictions. So I'm going Team Cody, Damage Control, Gunther, Rhea, Santos.
Yeah,
and
I've agreed with all.
I think
of
this is the first time that there's always been, I think, at least one or two. But I think because it's only a 5-match card here, it's
kind of usually there's ones that I kind of like fight and go no, you're way off. But with those, I kind of think,
and again, could be predictable, but it's still going to be a solid show. Those matches on paper will 100% deliver.
I'm keen for the War Games.
I wasn't very invested in Miz versus Gunther, but the promo this past week, you didn't watch it because you were watching your
NFL
Eagles versus Chiefs game.
Yeah, I was going to say
Eagles won. Suck that, Big James.
Fly Eagles, fly, bitch.
The Rams actually managed to win well after I changed the channel.
Thanks Taylor Swift for not coming.
Yeah, well, that's another reason why I watched Raw over that game. Plus, I had an NHL game at the same time. There was 3 things happening at once, and I could only focus on 2, which was hard enough as it was. But yeah, the segment, and I kind of showed you like the highlights of it on like social media, where Gunther basically saying that the Miz was nothing but an insecure little kid. He was bullied. He was this. He was that. He got into wrestling. He met his heroes that got him through the bullying, and then they turned around and bullied him as well. And it's like, oofed. And then he's like, when are you going to stand up to yourself? And he's like, doesn't say anything. And then Gunther pushes him, and he pushes him, and he slaps him in the face. And then finally Miz started throwing punches. And then Gunther, because Miz had got too emotional, still put him down anyway. And it's like, Gunther with the mind games. For the most part with Gunther, it's been very straight. As we said, banger after banger after banger. It's been, very much in-ring oriented. But now, he's getting some layers. He's getting some mic time. Getting some mic time with Mike the Miz Mizanin. But yeah, I'm actually really like, I was not invested in that match at all, but now I'm like, they've got me. They've sucked me in. They've sucked me in. But no, I'm expecting it to be good. But we're gonna rewind here, and we're gonna say the full match and the winners, and then quick plugs and get the fuck out of here. This is probably the shortest episode that we've done together ever.
That's why you don't give me energy drinks and coffee, because I ramble a lot.
Well, we've had 0 caffeine and we've still rambled, but I feel like we've had some good nuggets.
I've warmed up and I haven't kept stuttering as much and fucking up, but yeah.
Just in time for Miss Ruba July and Nick Maltino to get here later today.
Whee!
Kayfabe, you guys are meant to be feuding. Suck a dick is one of my best friends, so I don't give a fuck anymore. So excited. It's going to be a good weekend. We've got Survivor Series this weekend. Obviously, that's why we're doing this, but the full card, the opener on the pre-show was MJF versus Shooter McGavin, with MJF getting the win. And then the main card, the Sandy Bottoms defeated Team Fever Dream. Rocky Maivia defeated Tarzan. Andre defeated Godzilla on a last man standing. Cena defeated Dean Winchester, and I just realised I actually wrote Dean next to that instead of Cena as the winner. So I made a typo with my actual pen.
Because we both voted for Dean.
Yes, that's right. I voted Cena. I ended up going Cena.
Because you were like, Thugonomics.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Cena wins. Rapunzel shaves Bianca Belair bald in a hair versus hair. Roddy Piper defeats the Riddler. And then, in the greatest massacre in War Games history, and probably the greatest massacre in the entire 5 editions of Mark-A-Palooza so far, Death Dealers fucking destroyed Mr. Incorporated inside of War Games. Oh, I should have made that like the... Actually, I think it may have even been the song of the week in one of the other Survivor Series ones, but just like witches in black masses, But yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm very excited. Keep your eye out for the Wrestler versus Dinosaur ones. As I said, we're going to do something different. It's going to be the same format as this one, but you guys are actually going to vote for some of the opponents. It's one of the tag matches and then one of the singles matches.
Yes.
It's kind of up in the air because we're tossing up. But most of the matches we have actually already made. But there's a couple that we're going to say, hey, you let you guys decide. See how we go.
Yeah.
But the song of the week this week was Saviour by State of Mind featuring Eva Under Fire. And again, it's a cover of Christina Aguilera. I'm going to hold Mrs Crossfire to that.
I think it is.
If we're wrong,
I'm a survivor.
I'm not gonna give her. I'm gonna stop. The match of the week was the men's tag team match, the men's Survivor Series match. NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series 2009. I still can't, that match still holds up. And when it comes down to Roman and Keith Lee, man, I thought Keith Lee was going to be so much bigger in WWE than he was, but it is what it is. He's in AEW now. He's doing his thing. He's happy. He's making money. Good on him. But yeah, as we record this, MXW is happening tomorrow, so hopefully anyone that went to that show, let me know how it went. Daniel and Jeremiah, good luck in the Rumble, good luck in the State Warfare match. I'm obviously going to be Team New South Wales. Sorry, I'm biased, but good luck regardless, my friend. Tickets are available for Clash in the Capital on December 2nd, the last ever CPW show. So get tickets to that. And then, of course, January 13th, 2024, Miss Nova Lee.
Yeah.
She was meant to be making her debut, her ring announcing debut at Clash in the Capital, but we're not able to go now just because of funds and life and health and everything else.
Yay for life.
All things, fingers crossed, January 13th, Survival of the Sickest, the debut show for us at Extreme Capital Wrestling, Queanbeyan Tigers Club. Miss Nova Lee will be taking the reins, be like, and making their way to the ring. And she'll also, the most important part is, we have a tournament. Robbie Parker, Jake Gibson, Nick Martino, Ace Shack. At the end of the night, Miss Nova Lee, my guest right now, will be announcing, here is your winner. And the new ECW Heavyweight Champion. Insert name here. And it's going to have the most oomph possible because it's the inaugural, the first ever.
I gotta get practicing. Gotta go.
Yeah, tickets for that will be below as well. And as always, my links are in my socials. The links to all my socials are down below the link tree. But if you just go to my Instagram, @sensational_LJ, that's where I'm most active. It has the links for everything there as well. Facebooks, Twitter, obviously like the
all
podcast
of the
Facebook
social
page.
medias.
Amazon wishlist, Pro Wrestling Tees. As I said, there is a 20% off Black Friday sale. It's up to 50% off on certain AEW items, but my store is only 20%. That's a set price set by Pro Wrestling Tees themselves, and not myself. But yeah, up until the 27th US time, so up until the 28th our time, go buy yourself some John Crossfire merch, go buy yourself some Corner Conversation merch. There is actually a couple of designs that have Mr. and Mrs. Crossfire written on them. I might even have to throw up a Nova Lee one up there, who knows.
You know what?
But I did make a logo for her just because, why not, as, Crossfire_graphics, one-eyed graphic designer. Hit me up. I can't wait until the stitches come out and I can
That should be a name instead of Crossfire Graphics. One-eyed graphic designer.
Be a fully functioning graphic designer eventually. But yeah, just make sure check all the links. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And yeah, is there anything else you want to plug, Mrs. Crossfire?
Not really, not particularly, no.
Make it like a pigeon, get the flock out of here. Probably go play some more Disney Speedstorm while we wait for the Maltino family to show up, the Maltino July family. And I'll edit this later because it actually didn't have as much dead space while I was writing like I thought there was. Last time I did this with Ref Steve, there was a lot more dead space.
It's because we're just always shooting the shit.
Yeah, well, shout out to Pierce Austin. Go support his podcast. He's just rebranded. True Story with Pierce Austin.
Ooh,
it's making a lot of people salty, but the truth hurts. So, here's what it is.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Pierce. I love your work.
I'm all for that.
But yeah, Song of the Week, Survivor, State of Mind, Either Under Fire, Match of the Week, Men's Survivor Series team, Men's Survivor Series tag match, Survivor Series 2009. I am the essential John L. Crossfire. With me was Nova Lee, Mrs. Crossfire, Teak. Call her what you want. Just, don't call her any names because I'll beat you up.
I'll beat you up myself.
And you were just caught
in conversation.
Shaka-laka-laka. Booyah.
Shabooyah.
Shabooyah. Roll call.
Go. Felicia.
I'm going to leave all that in.